everybody, it's Tony George, DocSports.com. That's right. Basketball college style is here. And again, my staff handicapper, Tim Fynes, will be doing all of my small conference stuff. And of course, Tim, before we get to college basketball, back-to-back years as lead handicapper for my WNBA clients, and back-to-back years over 60% against the spread for the season. That's very difficult to do in this day and age in any sport. So congratulations on that. And
thank you so much,
you betcha. They're celebrating another trophy here in Las Vegas. I was witness to. So
yeah, I think they will. I think they will be. They will be for a long time too. I think.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see either an NBA or a college men's team cherry pick that gal as head coach from Vegas. What was she under? Well, she
Greg
was
Popovich.
under. She was, yeah, Popovich at San Antonio for quite some time. But nonetheless, folks, all the hype and hyperbole and pomp and circumstance and ESPN and CBS and Fox always surrounds the North Carolina States and the Dukes and the Big Ten basketball and all the superstars teams. However, we find value in small conference action. And it's not as sexy, but it's profitable. And the one thing you're looking for in college basketball is value and Tim's specialty. I'll take care of the Power 5 stuff. Tim takes care of the small conference stuff. And nonetheless, Tim, I know you've been to a lot of media days. You've been to a lot of scrimmages, exhibition games out there on the East Coast. For those of you that are living under a rock and haven't followed me and Tim for the last couple of years, he's an Atlantic City boy. But nonetheless, I know you've been busy for the last 3 months with this stuff.
I have, Tony. And, it works out perfect for me because with the WNBA, the way it kind of slows down, we roll right into college basketball. And those media days and those, used to start in, late October. Now they're practicing all summer. So it's been a long road, but we're ready to go, Tony.
Yep. Let's start out with the American East. And of course, I saw your note here. Vermont is no longer top of the mountain in quite some time. UMass Lowell, you think, is going to be a player here. And of course, they opened up the season last night with a 96-point effort.
Yes. They boy, oh boy, do they score the basketball. You look at that Ken Palm and that adjusted tempo. They are right there. Listen, a lot of people think Vermont is going to do very well this year. I'm not saying they're going to take a tremendous fall, but they are going to fall. But when you have a team like UMass Lowell, who gets 27 wins last year, scores the way they do, Brian and Jared Grasso, head coach there, I think it's. I think Vermont's in trouble. I think they take a tumble this year.
Yeah, well, I know we hit them a few times last year with some of our premium plays, and I'm like going, what are you doing? And they end up blowing somebody out. So, I quit questioning Tim a long time ago on his pick.
I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, American Athletic Conference, the AAC, last year's Cinderella, Florida Atlantic.
They're in trouble.
Yep. Tell me about this.
I think when you have a team like that with all that buildup, right? You have an ESPN show now called Run It Back that specifically talks about Boca Raton, the city, FAU. That is a lot of pressure to put on these guys. I am not saying they're not going to win basketball games. I'm not saying they're going to, go 6-25. But to think that they can jump up from the Atlantic Sun and playing at, home against North Florida, home against Florida International, home against North Florida, Jacksonville State, you can't just hop in and go play at Memphis at the FedEx Forum and not have a fall off, okay? Yeah. So I think Penny Hardaway and what he's done, Javon Quinterly from Bama, Caleb Mills from Florida State, and most of all, Jordan Brown. He was a 2 or 3 time, I think it was 2-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. He is a walking double-double. He is now at Memphis on top of the #1 recruiting class in the American Athletic. And I think Florida Atlantic's in trouble because I have Memphis all day here, Tony.
Okay. Atlantic 10, Dayton, Duquesne, St. Bonnie's, VCU, St. Joseph's, St. Louis. I know we were kind of high on St. Louis last year. They failed to meet expectations. This is always the A10 is always a fun conference to get involved with. But boy, just it, it's also one of those conferences that's maddening because it seems like it's Jekyll and Hyde.
It's you're right. It might be fun for people other than you and I. It's not fun for me. I'll tell you that much. But I certainly, I put St. Louis in there, Tony, because I think this is a conference, and you know that this is one of the several that I really, really hone in on. I don't know what to say. I think I have Duquesne winning this one because I think it's so wide open this year. I think everybody's going to beat up on it. I think when it comes time to the NCAA tournament committee, they're going to say, is this a conference that ends up having 6 teams? Or is this a conference like the SWAC where we're like, we barely want to even give you one bid? So right. I think they beat up on each other. I think St. Joe's, with the addition of Lynn Greer coming in, I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. Billy Lang, it kills me to say this, but he has done a very, very good job there. I think he went from the hot seat. It's very, very popular, as you know, in this business and in the college basketball business. Go from being hero to goat or goat to hero real quick. So Dayton, Duquesne's right there. The Bonnies will be right there. VCU will be right there. I put St. Louis in because of the recruiting class they have coming in, but I wouldn't put too much stock in that St. Louis team. Every year, like you said, Travis Ford, when he was at Oklahoma State, he was trending up, and then he's just kind of really come down.
Yeah. Atlantic Sun Conference. Who's the top dog there?
Yeah, Atlantic Suns. I have Lipscomb followed by FGCU, but everybody else is taking Eastern Kentucky. But definitely give me Lipscomb there. I think head coach Lenny Ackclough has done a really good job. He's got 4 or 5 starters back from the team at 120. Everybody else is on Eastern Kentucky. I'm on Lipscomb.
There we go. Big Sky.
No change. Weber State. Unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, it is what it is. If you're looking for some value, you might want to go on the Portland State Vikings. But no, Weber State goes dancing once again.
Yeah, the Big South, UNC Asheville. I guess it's them and everybody else. They're bringing back 4 out of 5 starters from the NCAA tournament team.
Here's the predictions. Here comes to the first of maybe 2 or 3 of my I don't want to say predictions of the year because I say that and watch it not happen. But I think with UNC Asheville, they have the talent, they have the coaching to be an NCAA tournament team that makes it to the Sweet 16. I think they're definitely an NCAA tournament team. As you know, I'm a UCF guy, but I have a connection to LaSalle basketball. And head coach John Giannini, who I'm very close with, who was there for 13 years of that program, told me who made it to the Sweet 16 the first time Dayton had that first 4. And he said, the thing about the first 4 is once you're in the first 4, you just get to play. And I think if you look at a team like Drew Pember, who's a 3-time Big South Player of the Year, he's 6'11", he's on every NBA draft board. He played at Tennessee, ESPN top 50 recruit. He averaged 22.9 and 10.2 boards per game last year. That is so difficult to do that I don't think many people, myself included, even can comprehend that. So UNC Asheville, I think they're going to be an NCAA tournament team. I think they win. I think Pember is going to go out on top. I mean, he's already at 2,000 points. This guy is the real deal. This team is the real deal. And come March or come late February into early March, watch out for you and the Bulldogs, UNC Asheville.
That's worth the futures bet on UNC Asheville in the Big South to win that conference.
Very much, yeah.
No show. That Pember is one of the top 5 or 6 kids in the nation. He's a baller. He's a man amongst boys in that conference too. Big West, who's the best team there?
Big West is so weird. I have UC Irving, Santa Barbara, Cal Davis, and Hawaii kind of all fighting it out. And I just want to say one thing about the Big West. The athletic director at Cal State Northridge, who fired Mark Godfrey. Remember Mark Godfrey was there when he left NC State, and went to Cal State Northridge? He won 31 games in 3 years, and he got fired. I'm not in the locker room at that particular school. I am not in the practices. I'm not looking at the ticket sales. Clearly something went on behind the scenes. But the fall of Cal State Northridge from winning 20 games a year for 3 years, and Mark Godfrey was there. If some small school can pick him up, that would be a great hire. But UNC Irvine, Santa Barbara, Cal Davis, and Hawaii, 4-team race.
Yeah, I like those. I like betting total. We like betting totals in that conference too.
We
Just
do.
FYI.
We do.
Just
Yep.
FYI, folks. They'll be coming your way. No longer called the Colonial Athletic Conference. Now it's the Coastal Athletic Conference. Give me a quick run through on that one.
Yeah, this one's very simple for me. I hope I don't eat my words here, but I think this is a no-brainer. College of Charleston.
Yeah.
They are so talented. They're so well coached. Pat Kelsey, who came over from Winthrop, who all he did at Winthrop was go to, I think he went to 5 or 7 NCAA tournaments at Winthrop in Rock Hill, South Carolina. He brought a lot of guys with him from Winthrop. He brought his whole staff. College Charleston's very good. Hofstra will be there. Drexel will be there. Towson will be there. Delaware maybe, but if anybody's going to challenge, it'll be Hofstra, maybe Drexel and Towson. But I don't see any way College of Charleston does not win that CAA.
Yeah, there you go. I got a little futures money on them actually.
Yeah, that if you don't have something on College of Charleston in the futures, you're probably leaving some money on the table there.
Conference USA, my man.
I think everybody saw what first of all, everybody's going to go on Liberty. Everybody's going to take the Liberty Flames just like they do in football. But I don't. I disagree. I have Middle Tennessee State. I have Northern Kentucky ranked tied for first in their league. Middle Tennessee put a whooping on Northern Kentucky on the road by 27 last night. The Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State from Murfreesboro, Tennessee are the real deal. They are very, very good. They hit the portal. They hit the portal hard, and I think they beat Liberty. Liberty will challenge them. After that, Louisiana Tech, New Mexico State, UTEP, and how the mighty have fallen in Western Kentucky. FIU, Sam Houston, and then Jacksonville State.
Yeah, that's
Western Kentucky. No more Rick Stansberry. So I think that's a big key factor there.
That Middle Tennessee State score last night surprised me. And of course, but there's a lot of scores that surprised you the first couple of. I mean, Michigan State score surprised me. They lost laying 16.5. I mean, these things are going to happen early, which is why we had one pick.
To James Madison.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have one pick yesterday to open up the season. We won it by a half point. My goodness. Should have won by 20, but you're going to see a lot of that, and that's why we're doing low volume by design, and I got some crap here recently. You guys did good in the WNBA, but you hardly put out any picks. Who gives a rat's ass?
I'm not gonna put something out just to put it out.
Yeah, we're cherry picking games one at a time. It's called the tortoise and the hare, ladies and gentlemen. Very quickly here, Horizon League.
Just what Tony? Just what I just said. It's a 2-horse race between Wright State and Northern Kentucky, and that just goes to pretext what I just talked about with Middle Tennessee State, how good they're going to be. Wright State, Northern Kentucky. I think Cleveland State and Milwaukee. Maybe Robert Morris switching leagues can challenge a little bit, but 2-horse race, Wright State, Northern Kentucky.
Who's going to win it in the Ivy League this year?
Talking another one about how the mighty have fallen. It's going to be a down year for Penn. It's going to be a down year for Harvard. I think Yale or Princeton or Cornell. I think it's a 3-team race, but I do have Yale coming out on top in the Ivy.
Okay, I'm going to skip Metro Athletic right now because I want to get to this MAC conference. Now, I think
I got this is my boy. Do I like this one? This tournament is in Atlantic City. This is in my town. This is one I'm ready for. I got a lot of information on this one. We'll keep it short, but I love betting the MAC. Yeah,
go ahead. I mean,
well, there's 5 rules. I told you, Tony.
I think it's going to be such a tight race this year. There's a lot of parity in this league.
Yes, there is, and it kind of goes back to the Atlantic 10 a little bit. I think they're going to beat up the top tier teams. Will certainly beat up on each other. But I always say there's the 5 rules of MACtion basketball betting. Rule number 1: you never ever go against Kent State head coach Rob Senderoff. When you do, you will lose your bankroll. Okay, it's very, very simple. Never go against Rob Senderoff. Rule number 2: Kent State, I think they're back atop the mountain after a couple down years. They did not get the job done last night. South Dakota State's a very good team who's going to probably
Yeah,
win
sure.
that league.
Yeah.
So, they didn't get the job done last year. Toledo will be, they'll never not be good. I feel like that's the case for their whole athletic department. They just overachieve, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at football. Look at you know me, Tony. I'm not a college football guy, but I still am into it. Look at Daquan Finn and Toledo at the quarterback. Look what Toledo's doing on the football field. They just overachieve. And moving on to number 4, the Ohio Bobcats. They compete with everyone. They take on all comers. They are just really, really good. They have great facilities at the University of Ohio. And I think former Butler assistant and former Xavier head coach Travis Steele is going to turn Miami of Ohio into an immediate contender. He spent a lot of years at Butler under Brad Stevens, who, as we know, went to the Boston Celtics in a coaching role and did all that thing. And then he got the head coaching job at Xavier. He lost at the buzzer last night on a 3. But it's just that's just the way the cookie crumbles on the first day. He'll get that program back on track, and he'll get it back on track a lot quicker than you think.
About the MEAC here, is there any other team besides Norfolk State in the MEAC?
Not in my opinion.
It seems like that. It's like every year, man.
Every year. And it is, what's weird about that? It's that you always see teams like that who catch that lightning in a bottle. They catch the lightning in a bottle, and they're able to harness that energy. And year after year, and the tournament every year is in Norfolk State. You think other teams in the MEAC are like, hey man, can you throw us a bone and not have the tournament maybe in Norfolk? Like, can we get something here? And every year it goes through them. If anybody can challenge them, I think it'll be Howard. If you're looking for a really, really a long shot here, I think it's plus 600, give or take. North Carolina Central head coach Lavelle Moten always has his team competitive. But like you said, Norfolk State every year, man, they're just so unbelievably talented.
The NEC conference here. This is Fairleigh Dickinson's conference, if I'm not mistaken.
Fairleigh Dickinson, yeah. They I told you that the other day. I said it's awful timing for Merrimack, because last year they won, but they weren't eligible. Talk about a weird set of circumstances. They win. Fairleigh Dickinson loses in the consolation. They end up going to the tournament and making an absolute run through the whole field, including Purdue. Right? I mean, unreal. Man.
Upset recent memory.
Absolutely, without question. And then after they did that, it's not like they stopped. They kept on going. And then Tobin Anderson bolted. He left for Iona when Rick Pitino left for the St. John's job. So now Fairleigh Dickinson's without essentially all 4 of their 5 guys went over to Iona. They got 1 starter back. They don't have their head coach. So bad timing for Merrimack. Bad timing for pretty much everybody, I think, including Iona, because obviously they get Tobin Anderson, but they lost Rick Pitino. So I don't know if that's a win, right? I mean, that's more of a downgrade, I think, than anything else. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people are going to disagree with me here. I absolutely love Ryder, the Bronx of Ryder from Lawrenceville, New Jersey. I think they win this conference. I think they go dancing for the first time in 25 or 30 years.
Okay. Quick question, just off the cuff. Did you think that Pitino did that great of a job at Iona? Or is he still living off the Pitino name, going to St. John's now? I think he's going to have a huge you talk about like Travis Steele going to Miami of Ohio and making an immediate impact, make them an immediate contender. You think Pitino's got that power anymore to do that at St. John's?
Tony, it's such an unbelievably intelligent question. And I think the way I would word it is I don't think he was living off the Pitino name when he got the St. John's job. I think he was living off the Iona name. Iona went to 5 of 7 NCAA tournaments before he got there under head coach Tim Clues. Tim Clues stepped down. Rick Pitino steps into a team who wins that conference every year. And now, of course, he's Rick Pitino, so he's going to get some extra guys. So I think, if anything, I think he's living more off that Iona name. So I think now it's going to be very interesting. What are you going to do at St. John's? You're going to live off of Mike Richardson's? I mean, what, Chris Mullen's name?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you do there. I think it's interesting. When I told you how Penn in the Ivy League fell, boy, oh boy, did he get a good one from Penn in 22.7 points per game, Jordan Dingle, and 5.3 dimes a game. He is now at the Red Storm. He is in Queens, and I think they'll be okay. But I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't have an answer, Tony. I really don't. It's going to be a wait and see there.
Folks, we're talking to Tim Fynes. He is my WNBA lead handicapper. He's the only staff capper. I have cappers on staff, but he's the only guy that's allowed to post plays and do all the write-ups. He does the same thing for me in college basketball. And stay tuned, because we're going to give you some early season tournament picks here in just a minute. I'm going to OVC real quick. Belmont, Murray State again. Where are we at there?
No doubt.
Or no, they moved. They moved, yeah. So what are we going to do with the OVC now?
When I look at that conference, that's really not my bailiwick. I'm not an OVC guy. Once we started to see all that movement, kind of like the Missouri Valley, that's a Tony George thing, not a Tim Fynes thing.
Yeah.
You do love your Mo Valley.
Yeah, I do love my Mo Valley. Well, hey, man, I hosted the Dana Altman show on ESPN Radio there in Omaha.
I remember that.
In
Omaha,
Yeah, for 4 years there, for 3 years when he was coach there before he jetted, went to Oregon. So I kind of, plus I grew up 60 miles south, and Creighton I still love the Missouri Valley. The landscape of college basketball is changing. I mean, there's not going to be a Pac-12 next year. It just disappeared overnight with five ranked football teams of 4 of the best quarterbacks in the country, and that entire conference has been eviscerated. And I'm an old school guy, and I like tradition, and I liked it when Wichita State and Creighton were duking it out in the Mo Valley every year, and it was them and everybody else. The Belmont was the OVC was Belmont and Murray State duking it out every year, So,
and I think this year, Tony, if you have to pick an OVC team, like I said, it's not my forte, this conference. But if I had to pick one, I think I would probably take Morehead State, just because of their track record. I think they're probably the odds-on favorite. I could look, and I got a couple devices in front of me right now. Tennessee State's probably in there. I think SIU Edwardsville brings back a lot of teams. But this is a very, very watered-down OVC. When you look at after Morehead State and after Tennessee State, I mean, you got Lindenwold in there, who's just turned D1. At the bottom, Eastern Illinois, Western Illinois, they're just really, this conference is bad.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the next conference, the Patriot League, as you have written down here, and I was looking this up, Colgate Raiders are 46-4 in the past 3 years straight up in conference games. Write that down, tattoo it to your girlfriend's butt. 46-4. That's unheard of.
I think I highlight when I sent you that. I think I highlighted it. I bold everything. I said I have checked this 10 times. I could not believe that stat. That is a mind-blowing stat for head coach Matt Langle and what he's been able to done. He's been offered a lot of high major jobs. He stays at Colgate. And as I said to you, why is Colgate State? Why is Colgate? Who says that openings like Temple, George Mason, DePaul, VCU, Butler? Who's to say they're better jobs than Colgate? He's making almost $600 a year before camps. He goes to the tournament every year. If I'm Matt Langle, why would I go to DePaul, freeze my what off, have popsicle toes every morning? Just stay at Colgate and just do your thing and go to the NCAA tournament every year, win 30 games and keep making $600K. You're doing fine in life, Matt Langle. You're doing good, buddy.
$2,000 future bet on them last year to win that conference. I'm going to do the same thing this year. I don't care I don't care how chalky it is. Southern Conference real quick here. You've got in here, if you don't sprinkle a little bit on Furman to win the SoCon this year at plus 220 via Caesar Sportsbook. You're leaving free money on the table. That's what you say.
Yes, that is true. The Paladins, great nickname by the way. Caesar Sportsbook, the Paladins. How about that? I think if you don't take Furman here, like I said, the UNC Greensboro has been very good, but they have not been the same since Wes Miller left for Cincinnati.
Right.
Same thing goes for Eastern Tennessee State. Steve Forbes left, took the Wake Forest job. They are really Furman is Bob Ritchie has done an absolute amazing job at really cultivating a culture. The players stay. He doesn't really hit the trance. He's kind of old school. Like we talked about Brad Stevens back in the day when he was a Butler. Bob Ritchie gets guys as freshmen and he keeps them until they're redshirt seniors. And he has done an amazing job at Furman. They went dancing for the first time in program history last year and almost won a game at the buzzer there. So Furman wins the SoCon. I don't even think this one's close, Tony.
Yeah, I think they make it 2 straight NCAA March Madnesses. I can tell you that. I'm going to skip a couple of these because we're running long in the tooth. But the Sun Belt Conference, Appalachian State intrigues me because they've got their entire 8-man rotation back.
Yes, and everybody else is, and especially everybody else is going to be on James Madison after what we saw last night. Okay,
right.
But I do think that I think App State can bite them. I really do. You know, it's a long season, man. This is what is Pat McAfee show called on Monday? Overreaction Monday. Let's not have overreaction. Let's not have overreaction Tuesday here on the first day of college basketball. Let's not do that.
Right.
Okay. So
anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And Michigan State, let's be honest, has Tom Izzo ever been a good coach in November or December? Ever?
No.
Thank you.
No, he peaked. Okay. He is a February and March coach. He always has been. I've even seen him getting big tournaments. They don't do well. I'm still questioning their guard play a little bit. He hasn't recruited the super top shelf guards. He ought to be able to get it at this point in time in his tenure. I don't ever put a lot of stock into what Michigan State's doing early first couple of months. I really don't.
I agree.
They're hit and miss.
I agree.
And he's a teacher. He doesn't mind losing a couple of those tight, big, games because he's teaching his players, and he's getting them ready.
Correct. Yeah, he did not lose any sleep at all last night over that James Madison loss. I'm telling you, he used that as the teaching moment.
He teaches his players to be March Madness players. Big Ten tournament, he's bowed out early and ended up in the Final Four many times. So, keep your eye on Tom Izzo. He's one of the better coaches out there. I do like him. Let's go ahead.
Me too.
Let's go ahead and just let everybody know our picks will be at docsports.com. Of course, there's a free $60 in the link in the description below, or of course, upper left-hand tab corner of the website. We got some of these early season tournament picks that are coming out. The Maui Invitationals, the ESPN Invitationals, some of those. Tim, you got some predictions here for these early season tournament picks.
I do. The Continental Tire main event, I'm going to take the value in San Diego State at plus 200. St. Mary's is a favorite here. I think San Diego State they're so physical. They're big. We all saw what they did last year in making the run. I think that's going to be a statement. Take the value in San Diego State there, plus 200.
Okay. And Maui Invitational?
Well, they're playing on a rock in the Pacific, so we're going to go Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Bill Self will have those guys ready to roll. That's also a plus 200. They're the favorite there. There's a lot of teams in that tournament. So even though plus 200, I still think the value is on them, and they'll be ready to go. Self knows how to adjust them to the time zone. They've been there before. That's an easy one for me to pick.
Anytime you get Kansas plus 200 in any tournament like that, you got to sprinkle some money on them.
Go to the window. $50. Go to the window.
Yep, go to the window. Battle for Atlantis.
No comment. We're going to be playing that for our premium clients. I've been to that tournament. I've played on that court. I've been in that locker room. It's a ballroom. It is not about talent. It is about know-how. And I have some info on that, so we're going to pass. If you want that one, stay tuned.
Battle for Atlantis. Check out Tony George when that's going on over at Doc Sports. we'll have some winners for you. Try us
Yes,
out
sir.
for a month, folks. NIT season tip-off.
You know, Baylor is minus 185, so you got to be out of your mind to lay 185 on Baylor in a 16 tournament here. A little bit of a,
No.
yeah, no way. So I'm gonna take a pretty big dog here, 350. Give me Florida. Give me the Gators. You know, they have some guys who come in short and sweet here. That's more of a value play than anything. I get the Baylor probably wins that tournament, but you're not seeing me lay 185 ever in the history of the word ever. So,
yeah, Baylor lost some studs too last year. It'll be interesting to see how he does a nice job with Baylor, obviously.
yeah, Scott Drew is good, man. I agree. He's very, very, very talented.
The Vegas Showdown, which I'll be going to.
I know you will, and I got one I really like. I like Arizona State. I think Coach Hurley will flex his muscles over BYU. BYU's the favorite here, but when you look at the rest of that field, we talked about horse races and 2-team race, 3-team race. This tournament is a 2-team race, and I'm taking Arizona State. Give me the Sun Devils at plus 230.
He's going to have to do something there pretty soon. Hurley is at Arizona State. They kind of just they're just kind of it's a lateral deal every year, and now they're switching conferences to a really tough basketball conference. He needs to get something done, and Pac-12's loaded again this year.
Yes, it is. We all saw. Look what my boy Andy Enfield. I've always said my favorite coach when he was at Florida Gulf Coast. Remember the 2013 the Dunk City team, 2013. Andy Enfield there. Now he's got Bronny James. He's got it. They're so loaded. And you're right. Is any coach been on the hot seat more than Bobby Hurley?
Yeah.
It is.
While his brother's winning a national title.
Why his brother? Just exactly what I was going to say. Why his brother is busy cutting down nets and popping champagne bottles, baby.
That's right. And lastly, but certainly not least, the ESPN Invitational.
Yeah, Texas A&M is a favorite at plus 260. But if you love value, especially in early season tournaments here, anytime you can get Mike Young, who came over from Wofford and turned Virginia Tech immediately after Buzz Williams almost killed the program. Anytime you can get Virginia Tech at plus 1,600 with the talent they have on that team, you know what? For plus 1,600, as you say, don't empty the bank account, don't pawn the Rolex. But if you got an extra $25, go ahead and toss it on Virginia Tech at plus 1,600.
There you go, folks. Just some quicks. We skipped over some because of time. What we're going to do during the season, about every 2 weeks, we're going to do a quick 15, 20-minute podcast with Tim and kind of get kind of like your semi-annual checkup. And we'll talk about some of these conferences and some of the races going on and where some of the value is. So be sure and tune in. Tim, I appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward for a kick-ass year, buddy.
Well, started off 1-0. Let's keep the ball rolling. Thanks so much for having me, Tony. I appreciate being on, buddy.
You bet, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We got small conference action for you, as well as, you know me, baby, some Mo Valley, and we'll have some Big Ten and Mountain West stuff as well. But 70% of our stuff, we're going to concentrate on these smaller conferences. We can find, I think, better value in the numbers. We're finding that out. We've done this for a couple of years, and we're going to do it again this year. We're going to make you some money. So get over to Doc Sports. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.